Welcome back. Last time, Chunk Tyler got very hungry chopping trees and ran out of forested rations, which is a problem. Then we viciously attacked alien debris from the sky, bought a ton of gemstones with the stardust, and chiseled them to reach level 70 crafting, which I thought was the chunk goal in reach, but I'm a dingus and forgot the magic level and cosmic runes requirement. This episode, we actually finished the diary task. Then we focus on cooking, fletching, and more preparations for the monstrous grinds ahead. Welcome back to the extreme chunk UIM that has the blessing and the curse of Tileman mode. What do you mean, why is it a curse? I guess the blessing part is obvious, I can get things like a rune axe, but a curse? Well, it enables certain tasks that, at this point in time, I hadn't discovered yet. I'm curious if anybody can figure them out before I reveal them. Anyways, welcome to episode 4. Let's get that Amulet of Power done. The objective is to get to level 57 magic to cast the enchant diamond jewelry spell, and also get cosmic runes to do so. So I went over to Draenor village and started beating up some dark wizards. These have a 1 in 128 chance to drop cosmic runes. And while I was grinding for them, I also got some law runes, which have the same drop rate. So instead of continuing to grind for the cosmic runes, I just teleported over to Varrock with those law runes and bought myself a Staff of Air, and then went to buy a bunch of mind runes. 30,000 of them. I had no clue how many I would need, but that seemed like a good number. So off to the sand crabs I went for a bit of training. I also learned that there is that sand crab island over there, so I wanted to check it out. Sandy Crab is his name. Can you fare me to that island? 10,000 coins? Sure. It's a lot of money, but hopefully I'm gonna be alone. Huh. Yeah, it turns out, instead of the 10,000 coins meaning that almost no one is here, there's a ton of people over here. I would guess most of them are bots. And despite that, for longer sand crab AFK sessions, this would still be my best location to do so, since it has a decent amount of sand crabs in one spot with multiple spots of them. And my attempt at grinding here right now actually didn't go that well. Even though the sand crabs don't deal much damage, with my current defense level and armor, they would hit me fairly frequently. And even with a full inventory of wines, I would soon have to leave to regain my HP. I then briefly tried whether using my ultimate Iron Man armor alone would be enough defense to survive, but they still hit me quite frequently. The solution to this was to go to buy a Mythril chainmail and a cape in Varrock, which did do the trick and I didn't take too much damage anymore. And as an added bonus, the chainmail is also better for casting spells than the iron plate body anyways, increasing my chance to hit. While I was in Varrock, I also decided on a whim to switch over to casting Fire Strike. So I bought a Staff of Fire and enough air runes to use up all mind runes. With the recent combat update, Air Strike did do the same damage as Fire Strike, however, Fire Strike would still give me more baseline magic experience per spellcast, so I figured maybe that could be worth it. But afterwards, I don't think this was necessarily the correct decision, because the air runes cost me an additional 232,000 coins, so that was a pretty steep investment. And then, once everything was said and done, I could just AFK for 2 entire days and use up all of the mind runes. This got me to level 65 magic, as well as 52 defense since I was doing this entire grind using defensive casting. And then, shortly after, about 259 dark wizards later, I got my cosmic runes. This was over double the drop rate, but I could knock these guys out pretty quickly, so it wasn't a big deal. And finally, I had everything together. I smelted my gold ore into a gold bar, combined the gold bar and the diamond into an unstrung amulet, used the ball of wool on the amulet to string it, and then casted enchant diamond jewelry to create an amulet of power. And with this, one major chunk objective is complete. The Amulet of Power is a decent all-around amulet for combat that increases offense and defense in pretty much all categories. Which means I now have an actually useful neckpiece, and the Petal Garland unfortunately gets turned into 150 anime bark by selling it to the friendly forester. Now that I had a decent combat necklace, I was curious what my stats should look like for ultimately grinding to level 99 defense. By the way, real quick bright screen warning because I didn't format the spreadsheet to look nice unfortunately, sorry. So I created a spreadsheet and a commentary clip to go with it, but as is the case with most of my clips, it's quite rambly and goes on for way too long, so here's the important pieces. First, I decided on what equipment I was going to aim for. We'll get to that in a short bit. Then I calculated my maximum hit for every possible strength level and used that to get the average damage roll. From here I could easily figure out how many total hits I would need on average to get to level 99 defense. Then I figured out how many hits it would take to level up my strength to the next maximum hit damage threshold and compared that to how many hits it would save me to get to level 99 defense, or cost me. Also, I completely ignored the chance to hit and overkill damage just to keep it simpler. Long story short, I ended up calculating that I would need to reach level 79 strength for optimal grinding speed. Let's be real, it's probably not optimal, but I like to think that it's close enough. And a bit of a look into the future, the equipment I eventually decided to go with for my defense training is an Amulet of Strength. Despite just having made the Amulet of Power, the Amulet of Strength is just strictly better when it comes to melee combat training. A Rune Scimitar, an all-around very decent weapon that is reasonably easy to acquire, although a little bit out of my way. A Toxtkexil, or in other words, an obsidian shield that I could purchase with enough money in a bit of a roundabout way, that has a really nice strength bonus for an offhand item. And by the way, the defenders in Berthorpe are off limits because fighting the Cyclopses is locked behind a minigame to earn the Warrior Guild tokens, so those are not an option unfortunately. And last but not least, bronze gloves. Don't worry about these for now, because I wouldn't figure out that I had access to these until way later. We'll get to that. For now, here's how I went to get a Rune Scimitar. I don't have any law runes anymore to teleport to Varrock, so I'll just have to walk in there. I teleported over to Champions Guild, and I'm gonna go ahead and buy more runes, another air staff. Actually, just mind runes and an air staff, that's all I need. Because I'm going to be occasionally just wanting to AFK, and it just makes sense for me to AFK my melee stats. So the original plan for me was to go all the way over to the northwest of Courrent onto the mountain to buy a rune spear, because I figured, you know, that should be relatively easy to do, and I can just buy it with money. Very little disruption. But simultaneously, I'm allowed to go outside and train my defense while outside the chunk, and magic is kind of one of these things as well. So, buy a Staff of Air for 1,500 coins. So I haven't exactly plotted out on how I'm getting there, but considering I have spent or saved up so many tiles after the crafting grind, it should not be difficult. I want to get all the way over here, probably take a ship to here, and then walk all the way here to this location. This is Aurania teleport. The Aurania Cave, are also known as ZMI, and in here there will be a bunch of enemies that have a 1 in 50 chance to drop a Rune Scimitar. Now, they are decently strong, which is why I don't want to melee them. They would just kind of destroy me, I would think. But just kind of safe spotting them with magic is going to be relatively easy. So, this is why I'm here, just buying a bunch of mind runes. You know, actually I was gonna buy 2,000, so I guess slightly more than 2,000. And then I'm just gonna head over there, somehow. Alrighty, here we are, over in Port Sarim, near the fishing shop. And I'm just gonna walk west. I don't exactly where the path takes me, but this is where I'm trying to go. And now we just wander all the way over here. So, in case you're curious, I have mentioned this before, but I have actually just used this shortest path plugin basically since I started playing the game, because I had no idea where anything was. I didn't know location names, I didn't know where the enemies were, so just looking up stuff via the world map search in the bottom left to the search menu, and then just shift right clicking in order to find the path over there has been kind of essential for me to be able to get places. Because let me be honest, this world map is not clear where you can and cannot walk in a lot of cases. And it's just kind of been basically my saving grace for being able to just navigate my way through the world. Alrighty, and we have arrived. Welcome to Orania, or also known as the ZMI altar. Somewhere around here, there it is. This is the Zamorak warrior. This is the guy that I'm gonna be safe spotting. And we have these little puddles here that I can use for this. So I'm gonna try and aggro this guy. He's gonna come over here. And he's just gonna get stuck here. So, little fun fact about safe spotting NPCs. When they are across like this little thing, I can shoot him. And that works perfectly fine, right? However, what I could also do is, if this guy was just kind of slightly sideways, you can also safe spot them over corners. Because NPCs, let me just turn the map exactly north. NPCs prefer going east and west when given the choice between one or the other. And what this means is, if I go over here and he comes to attack me, I step over here, he is still trying to go east first instead of just stepping north and actually hitting me. So I can easily safe spot him around this corner, meaning that I'm largely entirely safe from him just hitting me in any capacity. I'm gonna tag him, because what this allows me to do, it allows me to track where he spawns, because there's a plugin that kind of, once you mark an enemy, it keeps track, okay, this guy has just died, so let's see how long does it take for him to respawn and where he respawns. So, let's see. And there he is. Alrighty. And this is going to be how I'm going to be just killing this guy over and over again. It's a 1 in 50 drop. It shouldn't take too long. Theoretically that is. But, you know, there's always a chance that it might just take a long time. What I also like to do is just set the tag style to tile and make the tile fairly transparent, so it doesn't just overlap his hitbox. That way I can still get the track here with it being marked, but it's not just as ugly with that big yellow outline. I'm gonna unlock this here, grab the bones, because might as well get the prayer experience, and I'm gonna be sitting here for a while. See you whenever. Alright, this guy just dropped 3 lobsters, and I was realizing, wait, while I'm sitting here, I can actually just go grab my leaves out of the thing. I didn't mean to grab all of them, but whatever. And then just use my magic leaves on the lobsters and create foresters rations while I'm waiting. Because, I mean, might as well. Didn't account for getting food here, but that's actually useful. While hunting for the Ruined Scimitar, I also got a random maze event and decided on a whim, I have enough tiles saved up, let's just do it. I could get useful things out of it after all. The weird thing was that despite my tiles clearly getting subtracted and used up, for some reason they didn't appear on the floor, and I have no clue why. And even stranger, when I did more maze events later down the road, they actually appeared, the tiles on the ground. I am entirely lost as to what is happening here. Anyways, I got some chaos runes out of that, which was nice, since that sped up the Ruined Scimitar grind considerably. Oh, there it is, 79 kills for getting the Ruined Scimitar. A bit over drop rate, but I think that is quite alright still. I bought a few too many runes, but here we go. I have a Ruined Scimitar. Just to compare, my Mythril Scimitar is not bad, but this thing has 24 more melee strength, which is a gigantic amount and a fair bit more chance to hit. So, this is going to be the weapon I'm gonna be wielding from here on out. I'm not gonna sell that, because whenever I want to AFK, sandcrabs is the way to go. Alrighty, nice. Let's move that combat stuff into the background, and just imagine I was doing some AFK sandcrabs occasionally during my next big grind goal. Alrighty, the next big grind is going to be woodcutting. Once I'm done with the fletching requirement, I'm going to go ahead and probably start cutting down teaks, learning the 2-tick method probably, and we'll see how that's gonna go. At the Friendly Forester, I'm going to actually purchase a lock basket. It cost me 5,000 anima bark, which, fun fact, aside from that tiny little stint that I had here, I've actually done pretty much all of the events, just kind of by myself over in Lumbridge, self-spawn so to speak. Either way, I'm gonna use the lock basket, and that's gonna be very, very helpful for the 99 woodcutting grind, because this thing can just automatically store 28 logs, effectively doubling the size of my inventory, so I can click on the trees a few more times before I have to pay attention and actually start fletching. Also, sometimes it happens, in case you are ever curious, that I forgot to activate the tile mode when I'm running around outside. But whenever that happens, and I misclick like this, I'm just going to go back to selected tiles and just unlock them. Just kind of a little view behind the scenes, I guess. Alrighty, 2 things I learned about the lock basket. 1, there's no empty option. What the heck? That's incredibly inconvenient. In order to get the logs out, I have to check. Then it tells me how many logs I have. Then I want to empty it. Yes, just what? Why is there no empty option? Either way, and the other thing is you can actually wear this thing, so theoretically I could dismiss the forestry kit and just... can I not destroy this? But how do I get rid of the forestry kit? Huh? Why is there no destroy or drop option? Yes, the missing destroy option is due to the default configuration of the Item Charts Improved plugin, which at the time I was very confused about. But this actually kind of saved me too, because at the time I just assumed you could get rid of your forestry backpack and reclaim it at any point later with all these items still inside. This is not the case. Once you destroy your forestry backpack, everything inside is gone. The lock basket not having an empty option though is just... why? Rune essence pouches have an empty option, we know it's possible, so I do not understand. That's just extremely inconvenient. Alright, time to tackle that forester's ration problem, because Chunk Tyler ate all of them. I already mentioned the potential plans to solve this in the future, but I also kind of wanted to give fishing and cooking Calbert another shot. Mostly because it was really nice and AFK and I was doing other stuff on the side. And as long as I still had my level 58 pita bread chunk goal, I was free to do some fishing to help with that grind. So that's what I did. There's not a whole lot to say about it honestly. So here's level 57 and 58 cooking, while creating almost 11,000 forester's rations. This would satiate the hungry woodcutting grind for long enough to set my new master plan in motion. Oldschool Runescape is fascinating that way, where you may have a solution to a problem, but there could always be alternatives and potentially even better solutions. That's my favorite part about it. In order to make pita bread, we need a stove, and the only way we can use the cooking range in Lumbridge Castle is by completing the Cook's Assistant quest. And, as is my Tilemans Curse, any quest that starts in my unlocked chunks with all prerequisites met, I have to fully complete. So, I needed to do this anyways is what I'm trying to say here. For this quest, the cook is in desperate need of some ingredients he forgot to procure in order to bake a lovely birthday cake for Duke Horatio. He apparently has 4 children and a goat to look after, and if he were to lose his job here, that would be a disaster. So, of course, we offer to help him out. He tells us that he needs some milk, an egg and some flour. We could then inquire as to the whereabouts of these ingredients, but the almighty blue quest helper arrow takes care of all of that. In the general store I buy some pots and a bucket, and then head northwest to the nearby chicken farm. There I grab an egg. Also, quick interjection, if you're annoyed at me willy-nilly walking and not caring about using up my tiles inefficiently, I'll go into a bit more detail in the future, but at this point I was set on wiping out all my unlocked tiles once I get to the next chunk roll. So it felt like I didn't have to worry about them anymore. This did bother me quite a bit, and I've come up with a solution where I will have a good reason to not recklessly lose tiles everywhere. But that's about 2 months in the future from this footage, so I apologize if it bothers you. It does bother me. Anyways, back to the quest. I picked up some wheat outside the mill and then climbed to the top, put all my wheat into the hopper and collected 4 pots of flour at the bottom. From here, it's just a quick jaunt north to milk a cow, and then we get back to the cook with all the necessary ingredients for his cake.
Hooray!
And then, with my leftover pots of flour, I created 3 pita doughs, just in case I burned 1 or 2. Cooked them on the stove and... chunk task complete. Or well, it would be if that was my actual chunk goal. Right? Turns out, there's more. But I wouldn't learn about that for quite a while. I'm curious if anyone can figure it out and maybe put it in a comment, because it's a real sneaky one. But you theoretically have all information needed to figure it out. Next up on the list is fletching. Level 72 for a U-shield. And there's actually not a whole lot to say about this. Having the lock basket lets me AFK for longer before I fletch 2 inventories of bows and sell them to the general store. But considering how awkward it is to empty the lock basket, I eventually just returned to woodcutting and fletching individual inventories instead. But I also had another idea for the lock basket's utility. Alright, I was just curious whether it actually would grab the logs from the log basket in order to continue with the forestry campfire, but it does not. Completely unrelated, but something I thought was just kind of rather intriguing, and I never really thought about this until now. I can store 28 logs in my log basket, and this also means I have 28 logs. If I just grab a tinder box, I can make 28 campfires. Also, with the Varlamore update, you can get a hunter's bag to store a ton of hunter's meat in it. Well, as long as it is not cooked. But this is kind of where the log basket plus the meat bag actually comes into play. You have 2 inventory spots plus a tinder box, so well, 3 inventory slots, and you make a campfire, burn the additional food, and you have a ton of additional health wherever you go. I believe in God Wars Dungeon you can actually make a campfire in the big rooms, so that actually might be a reasonably efficient way to extend the trips over there, as long as you can find the time to make a fire and cook a bunch of meat and then eat it. Yeah, not exactly useful anytime soon for me, but maybe for other people, or my Iron Man, which is currently in retirement. Whoops, I almost missed this level up, because I'm currently editing my video, finally. And level 72 fletching has been achieved. I can now make U-shields. This means the chunk requirement for fletching from this one yew tree has been reached. Alrighty, and just so the chunk task here for the yew fletching is complete, here we get a yew shield. I wonder whether that's better than a training shield. Hold up. Yep. The training shield is much worse than the yew shield, which, you know, was not a given. This is a ranged shield, or supposed to be anyways. Either way, task complete. Alrighty, and that's done. The next clip is technically a little bit out of order, but it fits in here. Man, these levels keep sneaking up on me. But hey, there's level 60 fire making. I'm just casually burning these logs for a third of the experience instead of burning them more properly, because, you know, I'm literally just editing the video the entire time and not really paying attention. So, whoops. Either way, I can now burn yew logs, which is also a chunk task, so let me real quick do that exactly right now, because then that's done. Fletching and fire making done. Let's focus on the woodcutting grind for now. So something actually that only just occurred to me now is, since I'm doing the woodcutting grind right now, it actually makes sense for me to try and go for the lumberjack outfit for that tiny bit of extra experience gain. And it turns out I need a bunch of maple logs, magic logs, yew logs, and for the top even redwood logs. I won't be able to get the redwood logs until I'm level 90 woodcutting, but I can get the other parts until then because, well, I'm already 83 woodcutting. So I'm kind of currently planning on heading over to Sears Village, which is over here, which I believe has actually, it has the forestry shop right here. There's maple trees right next to it, as well as I think yew trees are down here. I don't know if there's any magic trees around. Maple, yew, maple, no. There's no magic trees around. I actually don't know how I'm gonna do the magic tree stuff, because it is quite a lot of them still. But until then, I'm gonna take the boat to Calbert and meet you there. Alrighty, and we have arrived. If I had law runes, I can actually teleport over here, which would be reasonably convenient to get over to the Camelot teleport right here. But I don't have law runes, so it's not an option right now. But I'm just going to go ahead and walk to the forestry shop, I guess. Alrighty, I have arrived. Welcome to this guy. Log storage. Store all logs. So you can't store the logs from inside the pouch. That's unfortunate. There's maple trees right here. I need a grand total of 100. That's not a whole lot. And I have... check storage. 14. Alright, I'm gonna be here for a while. Wait, hold up, I just realized there's also a clothes pouch blueprint. I originally dismissed being able to use this because I didn't have the crafting level. That was before I realized I needed 70 crafting for my chunk. And I can also get this. 300 willow logs, 300 maple logs. I only need 50 crafting and wood cutting, thread and leather. I can easily get all of these things. So the reason why that's kind of a big deal is because currently I'm wearing the camo outfit. And this is not for Fashionscape. I'm wearing this because this allows me to get experience lamps from the Sergeant Damien random event now, which I can put onto agility or, well, whatever else I want it to be. And that's actually kind of a big deal. What the clothes pouch does is effectively it stores your lumberjack outfit and provides you with the lumberjack experience bonus still, despite it being inside the clothes pouch. So effectively, I can have the benefit of the clothes pouch with the lumberjack outfit as long as you are not wearing any armor that provides any stats. So in this case, because the camo equipment literally provides no stats whatsoever, the clothes pouch actually does work in this situation. I mean, I'll see. Either way, this means I will need a bunch more willow logs and a bunch more maple logs on top of it. Alrighty, and I think this should be 400 maple logs, at least according to my chat. Let's see. Check storage. Yep. 400 maple logs. Also, apparently, past Egamo put a bunch of willow logs in here, so I do not have to gather those anymore for the clothes pouch eventually. Now, next up is yew trees. Yew trees are still gonna be pretty easy, because they are kind of reasonably close to this. They will just take a lot longer to cut down. Like, maple logs, compared to willows at least, are already kind of slow to be cut down, but yews are going to be even slower, and I need a grand total of 620. That's gonna take a long time. Also, don't worry about this tile missing, I'm gonna be running back and forth here quite a bit. Alrighty, so I was actually looking at the forestry shop just now, and I noticed the Secator's blades. I never actually gave them much thought until now, but the description says the Secator's blade is an ingredient of the Secator's attachment, which allows you to collect more leaves when chopping trees. You'll also need an iron bar and smithing, and makes 50 of them. As I understand this, basically 50 times when I get leaves, I'm gonna get more leaves with this Secator's attachment or something of that equivalent. Either way, high tier leaves would actually be really nice to have, because they effectively make much more efficient foresters rations. Well, higher tier leaves just make more forest rations per ingredient used. Either way, long story short, I decided to go and make some of these things. They cost me 5 willow logs and 10 oak logs. Oh, I will need more oak logs, but there's an oak right here. Alrighty, collecting these oak logs is really fast because, well, we're right here and it's an oak tree. You just collect it real fast. And with this, I think I should be able to buy... There we go. Now I need 18 steel bars somehow. So in order to get the steel bars, I planned to go to the Alcared mines, since I had the path to there already unlocked from the shooting star mining, and there would be coal nearby that I could get as well. I then went to the Ham hideout to get a pickaxe, and got a level 11 thieving, opening a trapdoor along the way. These 2 iron rocks seemed conveniently placed, so I grabbed 7 of them. Also, apparently that's an easy lumberage diary task complete. And the coal rocks are just a bit further into the mine, right over here. Once I had enough coal, I went to the furnace in Alcarid, smelted my steel bars, and then tried to use them on the secateurs attachments, only to realize that I'm once more a goose on the loose and I need iron bars, not steel. So I teleported over to the Champions Guild, grabbed some iron ore there, since that's much more convenient to access, take the Canute back to Lumbridge, and smelt them. It's a 50% chance to successfully smelt any iron ore into a bar, so I needed to do 2 trips. But eventually the attachments were complete. So now I think we just put the secateurs into the forestry quit, and I have presumably 900 leaves worth of extra leaves. I probably should have looked up how this works before I went to get it. Oh well, back to Sears Village. Well, an experience lamp from a mystery box, that's interesting. Because I was thinking, next time I get an experience lamp, I actually want to complete druidic rituals, so I can actually start putting it on herblore, because that makes a lot of more sense than agility in hindsight. So I'm gonna do that. You would think that my 2 biggest chunk goals are the level 99 woodcutting and defense grind. But let me tell you, I'm not worried about these 2. I'm worried about the level 70 herblore requirement. It's that big unknown I hadn't figured out how to approach yet. My entire farming training is because I want to be able to plant seeds. But how do I even get those seeds? Remember, I can't pickpocket master farmers, because that would be using thieving for farming for herblore, which is 1 step too many removed from my chunk goal. So unlocking it now to start being able to put experience lamps into it made the most sense. Alrighty, let's get druidic ritual done. For this, I need some bear meat. I'm all the way down here in the Land's End over on Current, where I noticed that there's a bunch of bears just running around. So that's actually going to be probably one of the most efficient ways for me, tile-wise at least, to get some bear meat. I've actually seen them walk up to here at some point, which is why I spotted them. So, can you walk around here? No, you have to go around. Alright, that's good enough. Alrighty, and sorry little guy, good thing you just respawned without your memories, and we get the raw bear meat. Now I need chicken and cow and rat. So let's get back to Lumbridge real quick. It's gonna cost me 1 tile, but that's alright. Got the rat meat and back up north. Alrighty, here we are back in the cow pen. Now meat, we need some chicken. And off we go over to the druidic ritual place. Alrighty, here we are in the druid village. Remember when I used my tiles to, well, try and get to the thieves' den for the better shop? Well, at least this path was not entirely useless. I could just continue taking the same one all the way up here. We need to get over there to a druid named Cake Mix. It's written Kaki Mix, but it's really weird. And time for narrator Yagamoth to take over to explain the quest. Alright, sure. The quest begins with us talking to Cake Mix. We are informed that there is a stone circle south of Varrock that used to belong to these druids residing here in Taverley. However, it was corrupted by dark wizards, and they are looking for an adventurer to help them in their efforts to purify it. Cake Mix then directs us to Sanfew, who lives in a house just a bit to the south of here. We ask Sanfew as to how we could assist him, and he informs us that we need to dip 4 different types of meats into the Cauldron of Thunder, so he can brew a potion to honor Gothics. Thanks to the almighty blue quest helper arrow pointing us further south to Taverley Dungeon, and through the magic of having read the quest requirements beforehand, we have everything required to fulfill this request. The 2 armored statues look at Chunk Tileman funny as he tries to open the door, but they don't interfere with him any further. So we just simply head into the room with the conveniently placed cauldron, dip our rat, bear, chicken and cow meat into the pot until they are blue, and deliver them back over to Sanfew. As a thanks, he directs us back to Cake Mix, who gives us a brief tutorial on how the herb lore skill works in this game. And, after all is said and done, we can now mix our own potions and clean herbs. Well, low level ones at least. So, it was back to woodcutting. Although, I did realize something during that. Alrighty, I'm currently editing the video, the first one, and I just learned that apparently, when you do the forestry events, the one for the beehives is supposed to give you a little bit of construction experience. But of course, I'm not gaining any construction experience because I do not have a player-owned house. Either way, there is an estate agent right here, and I think How can I get a house and sell you? Do you want to buy a starter house? 1,000 coins? Yes, please. Alright, we now have a player-owned house in the catalog, which I'm just gonna drop here because I don't need it. Thank you, sir. And this actually unlocks the construction skill. That's all I needed to do. Just spend 1,000 coins, and that's it. Which, well, I probably would have gained like a level or 2, I would guess. Either way, it's unlocked now, so for the future, whenever I get the beehive event, I'm actually going to get some additional experience. And there it is. I'm pretty sure these are all the U-locks I need. We should have a grand total of 580 now. It certainly took quite a while. But with the basket, I don't have to run over here all the time. So it actually was nice and AFK, I'm not complaining. Store all locks. Check storage, should be 580. And next up, we need to go and talk about Christmas trees. Magic trees. So, the magic trees are right here. So I'm gonna just shortest path, plugging my way over there. Alrighty, so we're over here. Not too far away from the forestry shop, but certainly notable. And chop chop, magic trees. These going to be even slower than yew trees. And that's quite alright. I only need a grand total of 360 magic logs. Still gonna take a while. At least I can transport like 50 at a time. Took a while for me, but you get it instantly. And there we go. This is the last magic log that I need. Basically, I've been woodcutting the entire day. And oh, I guess I'm taking a new path. Whatever. All those tiles are a mess, but it will all be cleaned up once we roll a new chunk, eventually. Either way. Log storage, store all logs, yes please. Give me those things. I wish there was an empty option on this thing. Store all logs, and there we go. Now, check storage. We have 300, or well, more than 300 willow logs. We have 580 yew logs, 400 maple logs, 380 magic logs, and no redwood logs yet. So, we can get the other stuff, however. Orders of operations. We're going to get the clothes pouch here, which will allow us to store the lumberjack outfit in the forestry kit and still provide the experience bonus. So we're gonna look at this. Then we can get the lumberjack boots for 100 maple logs and 200 yew logs. We can get the lumberjack hat for 200 yew logs, 100 magic logs. The lumberjack pants for 160 yew logs, 140 magic logs. And eventually we'll be able to get the lumberjack top for the remaining 60 yew logs, 120 magic logs, and whenever I get to it, 120 redwood logs. I think I might have miscalculated. So I need more yew logs, 40 of them. I might as well just stick around here to do the yew log thing. I'll see you later when we actually use the other stuff. Alrighty, this should be hopefully all of the logs right here. Log storage, check. I have 66 U logs, which I think is 6 more than I need. And the lumberjack top is going to be 60 U logs. Alrighty, so now, craft the cloud's pouch blueprint. This text box tells me that I need leather and thread in order to craft this. So let's go and grab leather and thread. It doesn't say anything about a needle, so I'm curious whether it lets me. That would be weird, honestly. Alright, I grabbed some cow leather from the cow pen. We're gonna be tanning this right here. From the crafting shop, of course. Hello, sir. I'd like to buy 1 thread. Alrighty, can we make this? Yes. You do not need a needle for this. That's so weird. Okay. You expand your forestry kit / basket to be able to hold the lumberjack outfit. Which is good because now I can keep the other things equipped. Attach this to my forestry kit and everything is in my backpack now. While still providing my full boost. I get 0.2%, 0.4, basically 0.8% more experience gained. Neat. Hooray! 85 woodcutting. Do you know why that is relevant? Well, this means I'm a quarter of the way to level 99 experience-wise. Because every 7 levels in RuneScape, your experience requirement doubles. So right now, I'm basically half the experience required to level 92. And from 92 to 99 is another 7 levels. So, about a quarter there. Mostly on this one willow tree. And if nothing else, all of these lofty goals for the chunk requirements have taught me, just take everything step by step, and you'll eventually get there. On the defense training side of things, while AFKing at the sand crabs, I was opening all the caskets they drop, and eventually got a ruby from one. With this, I was going to make an amulet of strength, so I needed some more cosmic runes for enchanting. After beating up some more dark wizards, I looked into other potential monsters to kill for a better drop rate, and I landed on giant frogs. After initially killing the wrong giant frogs in the lumbry swamp, I wisened up and bought a rope and an overpriced candle, then descended into the swamp caves. Down here I skipped by the grabby hands, running past the tile and found the frogs I was looking for, and after a very short while. Well, that didn't take long. There's the cosmic runes already. And I can make myself a very nice little amulet of strength. Get an amulet mold from Dominic. Shear a sheep. Spin the wool. Create a ruby amulet. String the ruby amulet. Enchant the ruby amulet. And we have our very own amulet of strength. The only thing that's better about this thing compared to the amulet of power is it has 4 more melee strength. Literally everything else is worse, but that 4 melee strength is very, very relevant. Also, if you notice the adamant plate legs, I bought them in the Alcarid plate leg shop. I didn't know where else to fit this in, but I have them. They are very useful. Good defense. And that's all for now. So let's review this episode. Here's the stats, before and after. We gained a bunch of hit points, strength, magic and defense experience while training at the sand crabs. We gained some fishing and cooking levels at the Catherby Beach, creating 10,000 foresters rations. Gained 10 thieving levels and a hunter level entirely through forestry events, alongside 85 woodcutting and 72 fletching for the chunk goal. Some farming levels, probably mostly through forestry as well as a random prayer level that snuck in there somewhere, no idea where. And last but not least, we unlocked the herblore skill and started putting experience lamps into it, did the cook's assistant quest, acquired 3 out of 4 lumberjack outfit pieces, and completed 3 chunk goals. Well, 2 really, but can you figure out what the other mystery reigns are going to be that I had yet to discover? Let me know in the comments if you would like to. Next time, we're going to tackle the Forest is Russian issue once and for all, and master woodcutting. Somehow. Thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening and for lurking. I hope you enjoyed your stay, I hope you enjoyed being around, and well, hopefully until next time, take care and have a good day.